You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Children are dead. There are families that have a deceased child. You cannot put into words the gravity, the tragedy, or the absolute pain of this situation.
Breaking news from Minneapolis. At least 2 children killed, 17 other people injured after a shooting during a Catholic mass to mark the start of school. Police say the 2 children who were killed were just 8 and 10 years old, and at least 2 other students are now in critical condition. Let's take a live look at the scene right now. Police say the gunman stood outside of the building and then opened fire through the window, aiming at children sitting in the pews. Investigators say the shooter then killed himself. The shooting happened at the Annunciation Catholic School that is in South Minneapolis. Reporter Bradley Blackburn has the latest.
Families walked hand in hand with their young children, taking them away from Annunciation Catholic School after a shooting this morning. A heavy police presence is at the South Minneapolis school as the investigation begins into what happened. Sources tell CBS News the shooter, a male wearing all black, died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Unfortunately, these entities have established security protocols in the event of an active shooter. So the church and the school would have had plans in place to try to mitigate any damage as quickly as possible. Once a suspect is identified, they will get a warrant for the individual's residence, the suspect's vehicle, and then very quickly start scrubbing that individual's mobile devices, if any are present, as well as social media. They do want to ascertain whether this individual was in touch with anybody else about the suspect's plans.
According to a school schedule, there was an all-school mass this morning. This was just the 3rd day of the school year for Annunciation Catholic School, which goes from pre-K to 8th grade.
As parents and children reunited near the school after the shooting, the mayor of Minneapolis and the police chief provided an update there at the scene.
There are no words that can capture the horror and the evil of this unspeakable act. Children are dead. There are families that have a deceased child. You cannot put into words the gravity, the tragedy, or the absolute pain of this situation. We are a Minneapolis family. But to everybody out there, do not think of these as just somebody else's kids. Those families are suffering immense pain right now. Think of this as if it were your own. Every one of us needs to be wrapping our arms around these families, giving them every ounce that we can muster. These were Minneapolis families. These were American families. And the amount of pain that they are suffering right now is extraordinary. And don't just say this is about thoughts and prayers right now. These kids were literally praying. It was the first week of school. They were in a church. These are kids that should be learning with their friends. They should be playing on the playground. They should be able to go to school or church in peace without the fear or risk of violence, and their parents should have the same kind of assurance. These are the sort of basic assurances that every family should have, every step of the day, regardless of where they are in our country. I'm so deeply saddened, and I'm so sorry to the families that I know are suffering right now. My ask is to everyone, stand by them. Love them. These families have forever been changed, and we've all been changed with them.
During the mass, a gunman approached on the side of the building, and began firing a rifle through the church windows towards the children sitting in the pews at the mass. Shooting through the windows, he struck children and worshipers that were inside the building. The shooter was armed with a rifle, a shotgun, and a pistol. This was a deliberate act of violence against innocent children and other people worshiping The sheer cruelty and cowardice of firing into a church full of children is absolutely incomprehensible.
All right, let's go back out live now. Pictures out of Minneapolis. Police say that they entered the church after the shooting and provided first aid to some of the people who were injured and rescued some of the children who were hiding throughout the church. Police believe the shooter acted alone. They say he is in his early 20s and had no known criminal history. Again, 2 children, ages 8 and 10, killed, 17 other people injured after a shooting during a Catholic mass. We are going to stay on top of this. We'll bring you the latest developments as they come in on air, online, and streaming on the CBS News app. Still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area, Oakland Mayor Barbara Lee marking 100 days in office by taking a big step to crack down on homelessness. We're breaking down her 5-step plan, and if people living in Oakland thinks it's a step in the right direction.
We have watched sweep after sweep happen for the past 8 years and watched countless lives be impacted so negatively.
Plus, some cars returning to Market Street in San Francisco for the first time in years, while critics say the city is heading down the wrong route.
Well, we're starting to warm up as we head into the next couple days here in the Bay Area. Today, we're in the low 80s throughout most of our inland spots. Tomorrow, upper 80s. And if you think that's warm, wait until this weekend when we jump right back up into the 90s right around the corner. It'll be a warm summer-like weekend for us, but then we cool right back down to average as we head into early next week. And that's also the case for our friends along the Bay. I mean, low 70s for now. We'll quickly jump to the upper 70s by Saturday and Sunday with sunny skies, and then back to those cool, cloudy conditions and cooler temperatures too into early next week.
Today, Oakland Mayor Barbara Lee is marking 100 days in office. Her administration is trying to turn the page on several long-standing issues, including homelessness. City leaders have been trying to address that, taking steps to clear several encampments, including what was one of the biggest encampments in the city, East 12th and Wood Street, back in May. Well, now a new initiative aims to tackle homelessness through a 5-point plan focused on prevention and outreach. That includes the creation of the new Office of Homelessness Solutions. Amanda Harry talked to a woman who used to be without a home, who was bounced around from place to place across the city.
Mayor Barbara Lee is working to end the homelessness crisis in Oakland for good. But Freeway hopes she does it while still recognizing the humanity of those living on the street.
I'm really hopeful that she will continue to put the voices of the most impacted first and foremost.
They say the unhoused are struggling to survive, something Freeway experienced for years.
Myself, I was unhoused for 8 years. Me and my partner were.
They have housing now, but they know all too well the reality of constantly worrying about safety and being moved from place to place.
We have watched sweep after sweep happen for the past 8 years and watched countless lives be impacted so negatively, and the impacts that it has on your health, both mental and physical, and we've lost a lot of friends that way.
Freeway thinks Lee's new Office of Homelessness Solutions and her 5-point plan may end the sweeps. The plan includes preventing more people from becoming unhoused, deploying outreach workers to help those on the streets already, providing support, temporary housing, and finally building permanent housing. District 7 City Council member Ken Houston believes this is what needs to happen.
It was almost like perfect science because we have Measure W, we have the mayor's 5-point plan, then we have the encampment abatement policy.
Measure W is funding the new office. It was a 2020 county tax measure implementing a 10-year half-cent sales tax. Most of the money will go towards homelessness services and housing. The encampment abatement plan is Houston's proposal to aggressively clear encampments. City Council will vote on that in September. But he thinks the best part of the mayor's 5-point plan is the first point, prevention and helping those with mental illnesses and alcohol or drug addiction.
How you prevent it is you help the mental, and the AODs, you give them the services that they need. And then you get them housing, proper housing. You get them shelter and services first, then housing. Because if a person is mental, a person is AOD, how can they hold on to housing? They can't.
Freeway hopes that while all of this is being executed, leaders don't lose sight of the toll homelessness has taken on the community and remember those who have lost their lives to homelessness.
And we lean on those memories and those people that are no longer with us to continue the fight for them.
In addition to tackling homelessness, Oakland is also trying to address illegal dumping. That has been a big issue across the town. Mayor Lee says they are planning sting operations and prosecuting those caught doing it. The hearing that could determine if San Mateo County Sheriff Christina Corpus keeps her job continues today. That is going on in Redwood City. A high-profile witness, her former chief of staff, Victor INJ, took the stand Tuesday. Their working relationship is at the center of some of the misconduct allegations against Corpus. The county claims that he was promoted despite a lack of formal law enforcement experience. Our Lauren Toms has been covering the hearing and asked him if there was a romantic relationship between the pair, and he denied it.
Did you have a romantic relationship with Christina Corpus?
I did not. She's a friend, and I'm very proud of her because what she's endured and all the defamation and lies.
INJ was testified that his role was professional. Legal analyst Steve Clark says that his testimony is critical for Corpus to keep her job.
He is the undercurrent of the entire case. And if the Corpus team can dispel a lot of these rumors and saying this was just an individual who wanted to be involved with government and wanted to see our county move forward, I think that will go a long way to the court.
Once the hearing wraps up this week, a retired judge overseeing this will have 45 days to make a recommendation on how to proceed to the County Board of Supervisors. They have the final say. New data shows that violent and property crimes are down on BART. BART police say violent crime has gone down by almost 36% in the first 7 months of this year compared to the same time period last year. That includes homicides, rapes, robberies, and aggravated assaults. You can see year by year, it has dropped significantly since 2023, when crime rates were nearly as high as pre-pandemic levels. It comes as ridership is up 12% compared to this time last year. Some BART riders say they've noticed the safety improvements, while others believe there's still work to be done.
It's more enforced. Like, they have like a designated area for like BART police so people can report things.
I'm sure it's the numbers game. More crime, more people. Less people, less crime.
I see it a little bit worse than post-COVID. Better than actual COVID times.
Well, BART police attribute the drop in crime to having officers present and visible throughout the system. But despite the rollout of those next generation fare gates, fare evasion citations have not dropped dramatically over the past year. Ride-hailing cars have now returned to San Francisco's Market Street. Mayor Daniel Lurie says this is going to help bring people back to the struggling downtown area. But as Kenny Choi shows us, critics say it's going to have the exact opposite effect.
Nadine Ramnandana is back in the kitchen, not by choice, but necessity. Business is better at the Old Siam restaurant these days, but she and her son still don't have enough customers to hire more cooks like they used to.
Yeah, we need more people around here.
It's pretty slow right now. We need clientele.
Nick Ramnandana and his family have been running the eatery close to Market Street for nearly 30 years. They believe allowing ride shares on Market will boost business and bring in more customers.
They can't park around here because there's always restrictions or nowhere to park at all.
Local business associations have endorsed reopening Market, arguing that it will benefit struggling merchants. But critics contend the change will cause more traffic congestion, endanger pedestrians and cyclists, and slow down Muni and public transportation. Christopher White is executive director of the San Francisco Bicycle Coalition.
We really believe that the mayor needs to change course on this, and his administration does, for the sake of safety and for the sake of their stated goals of improving Market Street, improving downtown, and encouraging people to come back to it.
White points to SFMTA data that showed injury crashes dropped by 40% after closing Market in January 2020, while travel times on public transportation along the route were reduced by 14%.
There are so many different ways that people can get there, including by car. Introducing cars back onto Market Street just increases danger, and it's going to slow down transit for everybody.
But San Francisco Mayor Daniel Lurie and other city officials have touted the partial reopening of Market Street to cars as a crucial step to revitalizing the downtown quarter's theaters, restaurants, and hotels.
This is a really important development because we got to get more people downtown. We got to get more people on Market Street. It's been desolate for far too long.
As each side digs in, small businesses are looking for any change that could improve their bottom line.
I think it'd be of great help, you know. I mean, it's a small step, but it's better than nothing, you know.
So pickups and drop-offs are allowed at 7 designated areas. Waymo will be allowed to operate on Market Street between 9 in the morning and 4 p.m. and then after 7 p.m. So skip in the rush hour. Lyft and Uber will only be able to use Market Street between 7 p.m. and 6 a.m. Still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area, an East Bay High School's football season in limbo after fire ruins their new field. How they are scrambling to find a new place to play.
Yeah, come on in. Yeah.
of our microclimates are kind of doing their own thing this afternoon, but all of us together are going to start warming up as we head into this weekend. I'll show you that in just a second. Let's start off with today a little bit more. We're halfway through the work week and we're dealing with nice, cool weather. I mean, we're talking about gustier conditions into this afternoon. That'll be a lot more noticeable in places like San Francisco, stretched along the Delta all the way up into places like Fairfield and Concord, up to around 20-mile-per-hour wind gust expected this afternoon. And we continue to keep a close eye on the surface level smoke too from the picket fire up near Calistoga. Right now, we're still sitting in that unhealthy category for air quality, and we monitor that closely because this is going on day 5, 6 of what we've been dealing with up there when it comes to fire weather conditions. So heading into the next couple days, we have a lot of sunshine in the forecast for us. It's noticeable every single day into the afternoon hours, and high pressure warms us up a bit more into this weekend, all the way up into the upper 70s by Saturday and Sunday. And then we're back to cool, cloudy conditions into early next week. It's as though the summer-like weather just wanted to hang out for the weekend and then ditch us as we head into the work week. Now you make your way over into our inland spots. That warm up is even more noticeable. I mean, we're talking about daytime highs mostly below average today off into the East Bay. That's not the case by tomorrow or Friday, but we're still holding on tight to 80s. It's this weekend where we jump into the 90s. That's the warmest we're going to see throughout the next 7 days. And then we slowly start to creep down as low pressure moves in, back into the 80s heading into Monday and Tuesday.
As the new school year gets underway, one high school in the East Bay was set to debut a new football field this week. That was until this happened. A giant burn scar at the 50-yard line in the middle of a new multi-million-dollar turf field. This field was just installed this spring at Mount Diablo High School in Concord. That school is located right off Highway 242 near downtown. As Kevin Coe reports, the team is now forced to find a new place to play for this Friday's home game.
Mount Diablo High School's new football field was set to make its debut this week. Now the concern is that it won't even be ready for this season at all.
Right in the center of Mount Diablo High School's brand new football field, a large burn scar covering what used to be a red devil. The school now scrambling to come up with a solution.
We really don't know how long. I'm hoping it's not for the whole season. I'm hoping it's half a season at most, but there's really no way to tell.
Mount Diablo High School Vice Principal Liz Mangelsdorf has been teaching for more than a decade in this Concord community, where Red Devil football has taken over. The team was ready to defend their first league title since 1962 on their new multi-million-dollar turf field.
We've been investing a lot of money into the program, both the football team and the girls flag football team. And so we've been working to really build up all the sports teams here. And so having this state-of-the-art field was a big boost for our kids, and to know that we were going to play our first home game here on Friday, and we can't do that now.
Friday's game will be played at Concord High School, but it's still unclear where other home games will be played, as repairing the field depends on how fast the specific turf can be shipped in and installed.
It was a large improvement program for them, and that's a lot of money to literally kind of go up in smoke in a very short amount of time.
Concord police detectives have been on the case since Sunday morning. Contra Costa County firefighters are still investigating the cause, along with the possibility of arson. There's also the chance it was negligence.
Initially, the investigation was concerned with was an accelerant or something poured on the field. Now, reviewing surveillance footage, it looks like fireworks were being set off on Saturday night, so the night prior, and that likely caused a fire that smoldered until the morning hours. But we don't want to rule out the possibility that there was something else that happened, but more than likely that's what occurred.
Lieutenant Holmes says if the fire was set intentionally, the suspect or suspects could face felony charges. If it was an accident, it's still a crime, but not nearly as serious.
If you're the people that were there and you didn't mean to do it, it would be very helpful if you came forward and talked to us, so then we can close this out and determine, hey, the school wasn't targeted. This was something that happened as an accident.
The heartbreaking part is to have this type of investment in our community, in our students, to have them play here, and then to have it damaged, whether it was due to neglect or whatever, is such a shame.
School officials say there is a possibility players may be able to practice on half of the field in the near future. But right now, everything's up in the air until a timeline can be set with the turf manufacturer. For now, the team is going to be practicing on the soccer field and may have to play on a different field for every home game. Coming up in our next half hour here on CBS News Bay Area, Northern California's Farm Belt could go from red to blue. under California's redistricting plan. We're going to hear from some farmers who feared that their needs will be left behind.
It makes no sense to me, just like it makes no sense in Texas, disenfranchising people who should be represented in Congress.
The first parade of its kind rolls into KPIX Plus September 20th. From the smooth rides of the 40s to the flash and chrome of the 80s, watch custom lowriders bounce, hop, and roll with style. Award-winning Chevys, classic Fords, and pure automotive artistry. Join Sarah Donchi and myself for King of the Streets Parade, Saturday, September 20th at 1 p.m. Only on KPIX Plus and CBS News Bay Area.
You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Thank you for staying with us. I'm Ann Makovic. Here is another look at our news headlines. We are continuing to follow breaking news from Minneapolis, where at least 2 children were killed and 17 other people injured after a shooting during a Catholic mass to mark the start of school. Police say the 2 children who were killed were just 8 and 10 years old, and at least 2 other students are in critical condition. Investigators say the gunman stood outside the building and fired through the window, aiming at children sitting in the pews. Investigators say the shooter then killed himself. They believe he acted alone. They are still working to determine a motive. Back here at home, it is the first day of classes at UC Berkeley, and this fall semester comes as the Council on American Islamic Relations designated the college as a hostile campus towards students and faculty, saying the university has a troubling pattern of selectively cracking down on anti-genocide speech. In response, UC Berkeley releasing a statement saying in part that the university will work closely with the members of the campus's advisory committee on Muslim and Palestinian student life in order to understand and address those communities' needs and interests. And Oakland Mayor Barbara Lee marking 100 days in office today. To mark the occasion, she is rolling out a new initiative to combat homelessness. Her 5-point plan calls for increasing outreach workers, providing support, temporary housing, and rental assistance. And building permanent housing. The new Office of Homelessness Solutions uses funds from Measure W, which was a 2020 county tax measure implementing a 10-year half-cent sales tax to address the housing crisis. All right, let's get another check on our first alert forecast today. Here is meteorologist Jessica Birch.
Well, it's a nice cool down for us throughout this midweek forecast. We're actually sitting a little bit below average in places like the East Bay this afternoon, mostly in the low 80s in places like Concord and Walnut Creek. We have some upper 80s in the forecast near Antioch and Livermore. Up into Santa Rosa we go. Today we're holding on tight to 70s. That puts us actually 8 degrees below average near Santa Rosa this afternoon. We're right at average in San Francisco in the upper 60s this afternoon, and all the way down into the Santa Clara Valley, a degree above average, sitting at 83 degrees near San Jose. Here's the thing though, we're going to continue to warm up as we head into the next couple days, so enjoy this nice mild forecast in this midweek setup while we have it. Another thing to mention too, some stronger winds are expected for us into this afternoon. Just around lunchtime, we're up to around 18 to 20 mile per hour wind gust in places like Fairfield all the way over into San Francisco. Napa will start to see some stronger gusts as we head into the evening hours tonight around dinner time. And that's important to note too, because those winds have been going mostly to the north and the northeast. And of course, we're monitoring that surface smoke too really closely from the picket fire. We've been seeing some poor air quality throughout the past couple days. We're still seeing similar conditions this afternoon closer to Calistoga, sitting in that unhealthy category for sensitive groups. We'll continue to monitor that closely as we head into the next couple days. And speaking of the next couple days, we're warming up a lot as we head into this weekend's forecast. 80s today, upper 80s tomorrow. Suddenly we're talking about 90s as we head into Saturday and Sunday, making the weekend nice and warm. But then we get right back down to average as we head into next work week and school week. So a little bit of a summer weekend ahead of us, a nice little cool down as we head into early next week with some cloudier skies too along the bay. I mean, look at this. Throughout the next couple days, we're seeing sunshine. Even for places like San Francisco and Oakland, it'll be beautiful outside. Those clouds roll back in as we head into early next week.
All right, now to the fight over Prop 50, the controversial ballot measure that would redraw California's congressional districts. Democrats are selling it as a way to fight back against President Trump and those redistricting efforts by Republicans in Texas. But now we're hearing from some voters up north who would be directly impacted by the change if it is approved in the November 4th special election. The changes would likely add 5 more Democratic seats across the state, among them Butte County, where farming and water issues are top of mind. Voters there tell our Kara St. Cyr that they're fearing their interests are going to be ignored and their voices silenced.
My family's been farming in the area since 1861.
Farming is in Ryan Shore's blood.
So I'm the 6th generation.
Shore Farms is located in Congressional District 1, Butte County, the beating heart of Northern California's Farm Belt.
But this will be more than likely a rice field. We might do some cover cropping in here this fall.
His district is at the center of a political tug-of-war between Democrats and Republicans, both vying for extra congressional seats. A newly proposed map would draw new party lines, limiting the impact of Republican voters like Shore.
In terms of the broad geographic spread, it's probably divisive just to split up these communities and really make it difficult to be represented equally and fairly across the spectrum with communities of interest, right? Those interests are very different and very unique.
The new map slices District 1 in half, cutting out heavily Republican counties. Lawmakers then extended the border to include parts of Sonoma and Marin County, dyeing the once red district deep blue.
People here, I think, are going to feel pretty much abandoned.
The new lines aim to oust Republican Congressman Doug LaMalfa from a post he's held since 2013.
I know this seat doesn't belong to me, and it's not forever anyhow. But I guess the bigger concern is if this district is shifted into basically being a Bay Area district, what's going to happen to all the other people we're talking to?
If approved, California's Republican representation would dip from 9 seats to 4. LaMalfa says rural concerns will be buried under Bay Area voices, including the cost of this redistricting effort.
It's projected that it's going to cost the state $235 statewide to run it, and the counties I represent, they've sent us their projections, and it's going to add up to right at $4 million. These are already small, struggling counties. They just had to put a new sales tax here to pay for police and fire and libraries.
But he's also concerned about water policy. 20 miles south of LaMalfa's farm, Dr. Dave Daly echoes his concerns.
They don't. Everybody worries about water. Everybody has changed and improved their irrigation systems to try and be more efficient. You know, it's timers on your wells, and it's lots of things you do.
According to the California Water Impact Network, about 80% of the state's developed water is set aside for farmland as of 2025.
Newt, way around, way out.
But Daley is scared of more caps on how much he can use.
Load up.
Redistricting adds fuel to the fire.
It makes no sense to me, just like it makes no sense in Texas, disenfranchising people who should be represented in Congress.
The decision is ultimately in the hands of the public. The map will be sent to a vote in November.
I think that's one of the frustrations.
Shore is anxiously waiting.
People, 8, 9, 10 hours away in San Diego County, Los Angeles County, are going to decide how our votes are diced and sliced in what congressional district here in Northern California. I think that is part of the issue, right?
An issue with the power to change everything.
So Republicans continue to fight back. This week, they filed another lawsuit asking the state Supreme Court to block Prop 50 from the ballot, calling it unconstitutional. A similar effort by the GOP failed last week. State Democrats said that they will only redraw the lines if Texas moves forward with its redistricting plan that would give Texas Republicans an extra 5 seats in the House. A group of senior citizens at a North Bay mobile home community pushing back now against what they call a broken deal with the city. People living at the Marin Valley Mobile Country Club in Novato say they were promised eventual ownership of the land under their homes. Well, they've been paying on the loan since 1997, and now that it's almost paid off, the city of Novato is claiming sole ownership and is demanding $26 million for the land. One person who lives there, Serena Fisher, spoke out at Tuesday's council meeting, urging city leaders to negotiate fairly and transparently.
No public funds have ever been used to sustain Marin Valley Mobile Country Club. Residents have paid for everything since 1997, including close to $18 million in loans and bonds and interest. Can you honestly say that this is good faith negotiations?
Well, people living in the mobile home park have once again offered to buy the property, upping their offer to $23.5 million. The city will meet in 2 weeks to consider the new offer. The city of San Jose is stepping up its fight against blighted properties. The city council just approved some steep penalties against property owners who don't fix up abandoned and rundown buildings. The city had already had the power to issue fines, but officials say they weren't strong enough. So they boosted them to $10,000 per day. That is 4 times the previous penalty. They also increased the total maximum penalty to $500,000, 5 times the previous limit. Katie Nielsen spoke with one downtown property owner who's hoping these steeper fines will finally tidy up a neighboring home.
This old church right across from St. James Park is actually what started the city's conversation about chronic blight. It's owned by a Chinese investment company, and there hasn't really been much of an effort in terms of rehabilitation, redevelopment, or even selling the property. That's why the city is now saying increased fines could force property owners to finally clean up their act.
I have one here, and I have one behind me, and all they're doing is bringing down the value of our homes here.
Longtime San Jose resident John Ray Tapia says he is surrounded by blight. There's an abandoned house that's boarded up on the backside of his property, and there's also a burned out home next door. He says it was once abandoned and boarded up as well, but he says unhoused residents moved in and accidentally set it on fire about 3 years ago.
I'd like to see them fix it up and someone else using it.
Tapia says he even offered to buy the property from the owner, but the owner refused to sell, instead leaving it exactly as it is for years.
It's unsightly and it doesn't look good for the neighborhood.
That's why the San Jose City Council decided to increase the fines for property owners who refuse to clean up their lots to a maximum of $10,000 a day or a maximum of $500,000 a year, the highest fine amount in the state.
We are, already hurling fines at them, but a lot of these individuals, property owners, are quite wealthy, or they live overseas. And so they treat these minor fines as essentially a cost of doing business.
Councilmember Ortiz says many of the issues are happening in his district of East San Jose, But there are sites all over the city that are chronic eyesores.
If you don't want to maintain your property and you're okay with having blighted buildings and fires and trash, we're going to push you to sell it to somebody else who will maintain it and make use of it. We need housing, we want jobs.
Lifelong San Jose resident Robert Tenori agrees and says the former Church of Christ scientist should be first on the city's list. The property was left abandoned for years after a failed restoration plan.
There's plenty of people that could benefit from this being restored and improved upon, and for decades it seems now it's just been neglected.
Councilmember Ortiz says this really is supposed to be a tool of last resort for chronic offenders. He said the intention is not to penalize property owners who might be having a temporary problem.
So what happens when the financial penalties are not enough to motivate property owners? The city also has the power to take legal action, like what happened with a set of lots just blocks from City Hall. This is some video from last year from a property on North 4th Street and East St. John. There used to be 2 Victorian homes there, but they burned down and the owner never cleared the area. Eventually, the city forced the property into a receivership, then cleaned up the land earlier this year, and now that property is up for sale for $35 million. It's already been approved for a new building with hundreds of housing units, though it's not clear right now if the sale would change those plans. The owner of a Mexican restaurant chain in Central California is accused of hiring the leader of a motorcycle gang to set fire to one of his own restaurants. Here's a look at the aftermath of that fire at the vacant Bobby Salazar's restaurant on Blackstone Avenue in Fresno. It burned down in April of 2024 in a case determined to be arson. Well, the criminal complaint states that the underperforming restaurant had shut down 3 months before that. Prosecutors say after the closure, the owner, 63-year-old Robert Bobby Salazar, renewed the insurance policy with increased coverage and then hired the president of the Screamin' Demons Motorcycle Club to set fire to the building. They say Salazar ended up getting at least $980,000 for his insurance claim. He's now been arrested on federal charges. If convicted, he is facing at least 5 years in prison. Coming up next here on CBS News Bay Area, the 49ers finalizing their roster for the upcoming season. We'll take a look at the key players who did not make the cuts.
Well, we're starting to warm up as we head into the next couple days here in the Bay Area. Today, we're in the low 80s throughout most of our inland spots. Tomorrow, upper 80s. And if you think that's warm, wait until this weekend when we jump right back up into the 90s right around the corner. It'll be a warm summer-like weekend for us, but then we cool right back down to average as we head into early next week. And that's also the case for our friends along the Bay. I mean, low 70s for now. We'll quickly jump to the upper 70s by Saturday and Sunday with sunny skies, and then back to those cool, cloudy conditions and cooler temperatures, too, into early next week.
The 49ers returned to practice today, and as Vern Glenn explains, the field is not going to be as crowded as it was during training camp.
This is the Audi Red and Gold Report.
Tuesday was cutdown day in the NFL, which means the 49ers trimmed their roster down to 53 players as they get ready to begin the regular season. Here's a look at some of the notable players who were let go. Running back Jeff Wilson Jr., linebacker Curtis Robinson, and receivers Robbie Chosen and Tariq Owens and Russell Gage. For those who did make the initial final 53, the goal is real simple.
We have a team that can do it and go all the way, and we got new guys on the team, new faces, and we all have to learn each other and get ready to go on this journey. It's a long journey, 18 weeks of football, then playoffs. And then obviously we're going to be playing in the stadium a bunch this year, so we can get used to it, and hopefully we can be playing in it at the very end as well.
With the Red and Gold Report, I'm Vern Glenn.
Well, the Niners going to kick off their regular season against the Seahawks in Seattle. That is happening on Sunday, September 7th. The Kansas City Chiefs might be a little distracted by the engagement heard around the world. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce announced, you've probably heard, that they're getting married. A couple posting these photos of the proposal with the caption, your English teacher and gym teacher are getting married. It was paired with Swift's song, So High School, rumored to be about the Kansas City Chiefs player. The engagement ring, a vintage 10-carat stunner that Kelce designed himself. Jewelers estimate it's worth anywhere between $500,000 and $1 million. Wedding experts say their big day could spark trends across fashion, flowers, and more.
People will be watching closely. I mean, even just her Instagram post and seeing the floral design of the engagement.
Taylor Swift has a new album, The Life of a Showgirl, coming out later this year, and Kelce's football season kicks off next week. Coming up here on CBS News Bay Area, a Bay Area fashion designer giving away some of her iconic creations, all for a good cause. Why she says she needed to step up to help.
Oh, thank you so much.
all of our microclimates are kind of doing their own thing this afternoon, but all of us together are going to start warming up as we head into this weekend. I'll show you that in just a second. Let's start off with today a little bit more. We're halfway through the work week and we're dealing with nice, cool weather. I mean, we're talking about gustier conditions into this afternoon. That'll be a lot more noticeable in places like San Francisco, stretched along the Delta all the way up into places like Fairfield and Concord, up to around 20-mile-per-hour wind gust expected this afternoon. And we continue to keep a close eye on the surface level smoke too from the picket fire up near Calistoga. Right now, we're still sitting in that unhealthy category for air quality, and we monitor that closely because this is going on day 5, 6 of what we've been dealing with up there when it comes to fire weather conditions. So heading into the next couple days, we have a lot of sunshine in the forecast for us. It's noticeable every single day into the afternoon hours, and high pressure warms us up a bit more into this weekend, all the way up into the upper 70s by Saturday and Sunday. And then we're back to cool, cloudy conditions into early next week. It's as though the summer-like weather just wanted to hang out for the weekend and then ditch us as we head into the work week. Now you make your way over into our inland spots. That warm up is even more noticeable. I mean, we're talking about daytime highs mostly below average today off into the East Bay. That's not the case by tomorrow or Friday, but we're still holding on tight to 80s. It's this weekend where we jump into the 90s. That's the warmest we're going to see throughout the next 7 days. And then we slowly start to creep down as low pressure moves in back into the 80s heading into Monday and Tuesday.
San Francisco's Union Square is set to play host to a high fashion event tonight that's all about helping kids in need. And one iconic Bay Area designer is digging into her private collection to donate some of her creations. Lorene Ayub sat down with her to hear why she knew she had to get involved.
Every dress tells a story of creative couture. And for renowned designer Lily Sammy, each one reflects a chapter of her 50-year career. For her, the most rewarding moments were always those final ones, when the gown was complete.
The most satisfied and happy time for me was when we were, all of us, with all my interns, everybody in the showroom, the gown is finished, we're standing around it, and we're fussing with it, taking a picture. I was like, oh my God, we did it, you know? That to me was so wonderful. It just warmed my heart.
But her journey was never without challenge. As she reflects on her design history through her book, Lily Sammy, A Life in Couture, Lily shares that her family did not expect her to work at all. Reigning from Iranian nobility, her traditional mother initially struggled to accept her passion for design.
She came from Iran here, and she said, you can't do this. This is just not for you, you know? And I said, yes, it is. And this is what I want to do, and I'm going to make it work.
And work she did. Over 5 decades, Lily Sammy has dressed Hollywood stars, designed for global clients, and carved a unique mark on the world of couture. Now, working alongside community leaders like Shireen Melania, Lily, though retired, continues to blend fashion with philanthropy.
She really is a treasure for the Bay Area because she's had a history throughout her career. She's done different fashion shows for various charities and helping give back. And George Mark House, I remember the day she went and visited, she called me and she said, we have to do this.
Lily is donating several of her iconic gowns to the Elegance Meets Impact auction, with all proceeds supporting George Mark Children's House, a cause close to her heart.
If they can even help one child, I'll be so proud and so happy.
Because for Lily Sammy, art is not just creation. It's an expression of hope meant to be shared.
The Elegance Meets Impact auction will take place tonight at 6. Tickets are sold out, but you can still make a donation if you want through the George Mark Children's House website. The Golden State Valkyries also preparing to hit the runway. The WNBA team is hosting its inaugural fashion show tomorrow. It's going to feature 15 pieces from different designers, including 2 from Golden State guard Tiffany Hayes. The fashion show is going to take place at Chase Center as part of a partnership with Sephora, and those pieces will be available in the Valkyries shop in October. Thanks for streaming CBS News Bay Area. I'm Ann Makovic. We're going to be right back with your first alert forecast and another look at your top stories.